Okay, let's be real for a second. Talent acquisition and career development. Not exactly the most thrilling phrases, right?
You got that right. Not exactly grabbing everyone's attention.
But what if I told you there's a company using data to predict your best career, and they're hitting the mark like, well, way more often than you'd think?
And that's where Rutherford International comes in. They're not just filling jobs, they're trying to build a system where everybody wins.
And that's what we're going to dig into today, their personality DNA assessment.
Right.
85% success rate, matching people to jobs they'll actually love. That's crazy high. Way better than those personality quizzes we've all taken. What's the secret?
Well, it's not magic, even though it kind of sounds like it. They're not looking at broad personality types.
Okay.
They've identified 85 different personality traits.
Yeah, oh, wow. 85?
Yeah, think of them like the tiny pieces that make up, who you are at work.
Oh, okay, like the little building blocks of your work personality.
Exactly, yeah.
So 85 traits, that's a lot to unpack.
Yeah.
So how do they use all that to actually give people career advice?
Well, those 85 traits, they combine to form 6 core personality factors.
Okay.
And then those factors define 12 unique personality types.
Okay, so it goes traits to factors to types.
Got it. It's like the traits are ingredients, the factors are the recipe,
Hmm.
and the personality type, well, that's the finished dish.
Okay, that makes sense. I can see that. So then how does knowing all that help someone figure out, like, what they should actually do for work?
Well, what they've found is certain combos of those personality factors, they naturally fit better with certain jobs.
Right.
So someone who's really, let's say, an opportunist, they'd probably love fast-paced sales, something where they can just go for it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Gonna use that drive.
But someone who's more of an altruist, they probably find more meaning in a job where they're helping others.
Right, yeah, we all know people who just seem like they were born to do a certain kind of job, right?
Mm.
But is knowing your type, does that actually make a difference in real life?
Oh, for sure. It can be huge. I mean, there was this managing partner in North America who took the assessment.
Okay.
They were kind of having second thoughts about their career choices. And then they said, and I quote, "Your evaluation affirmed that inner voice, dispelling any lingering uncertainty and validating my instincts. Psychologically, it felt liberating."
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty powerful.
Right?
Just knowing for sure that you're on the right path, that must take a lot of pressure off.
Definitely.
But Rutherford International, they're not just about, individual success, right? They say their whole approach can change how companies hire and manage people, too.
Totally. If you match people to jobs that fit their natural strengths,
Mm-hmm.
less turnover, people are more productive, our companies make more money. They even said that their TalentNet platform, the people they hire through that, are 48% more productive, and company profits up 25%.
Whoa, 48% more productive? That's a lot.
Yeah.
But how do they know that? What's behind those numbers? And more importantly, how can our listeners use this in their own careers?
Well, that's the really interesting part. What Rutherford International does is they take this personality assessment
Okay.
and they've built a whole bunch of different services around it.
So more than just the one assessment. This is where it gets exciting.
Exactly. It's a multifaceted approach. It's really cool, actually. They've built a whole system around this idea of matching personalities and jobs.
So they don't just stop at that one assessment.
Oh, no. They've got stuff for everything. Finding the right CEO, helping someone quietly look for a new job, you name it.
Oh, wow. So they've really found a way to use it for all these different parts of talent, like finding people and helping them grow.
Yeah, exactly. It's all connected. So let's start with the executive search part. That's Rutherford & Co.
Yeah.
They work with companies to find and place C-suite execs, the top.
Right. Big decision makers.
Yeah, exactly. And they also do leadership assessments, and they even consult with private equity firms to make sure their companies have the right leaders.
Okay, so those are some pretty high stakes positions, right? Like, how do they know they're finding the perfect fit for those roles?
Well, their process is super thorough. They use the personality DNA assessment to figure out, what specific personality traits and factors are really important for those high-pressure jobs.
All right, makes sense.
But here's what's really different. They're all about long-term success. So their fees are actually tied to, milestones and outcomes.
Oh, interesting.
So it's in their best interest to find someone who's not just going to be good at the job,
Right.
but who's going to stay there for a while.
That's a good point. It's not just filling the spot and then moving on.
Exactly.
So, okay, that's the executive level, but what about the rest of us? People who are maybe mid-career looking for a change. Does Rutherford International do anything for them.
Oh, absolutely. They've got this division called TalentNet Agency,
Okay.
and they specialize in those high-paying jobs, like up to $249,000 a year.
Okay. Yeah, that's definitely high paying.
Yeah, so they use AI to analyze resumes and profiles, and then they combine that with, the insights from the personality DNA assessment to find people who have the skills, but who also fit in with the company's culture.
Yeah, the culture fit. That's huge.
Yeah.
I feel like so many companies miss that.
Totally. And they also get that sometimes people need to keep their job search quiet.
Mm-hmm.
So they have this thing called incognito job search assistance.
Makes sense, especially if you're already in a big job.
Yeah,
You don't want everyone knowing you're looking.
exactly. Now, if you're thinking, okay, this all sounds amazing, but where do I actually find these jobs?
Right.
Rutherford International has that covered too. They've got a job board called TalentNet.
Another one.
Yeah, but it's not like those huge job boards with a million postings.
Oh, okay. So what makes it different? How do you find what you're actually looking for?
Well, they focus on quality, not quantity. So it's more like a carefully chosen selection of really good jobs.
Yeah.
And if a company posts on TalentNet,
Yeah.
they're guaranteed at least 2 really strong candidates for the job.
Oh, wow. So they do a lot of the work up front.
Exactly. So job seekers don't get lost in a sea of applications.
Right.
And companies know they're getting people who are actually a good fit.
That makes a lot of sense. So both sides win.
Yep. And if a company's thinking about the future, building up their talent pool,
Mm-hmm.
they've got something called just-in-time talent pipelines.
That sounds interesting. What is that?
So a company says what kind of people they want.
Okay.
And Rutherford International finds a bunch of potential candidates who fit the bill.
Gotcha.
But here's the cool part. They don't give out the candidate's contact info until both sides are interested.
Oh, that's smart.
So no one's getting spam.
Right. Everyone's actually genuinely interested.
Exactly. And then for people who like a more flexible work setup,
Okay, yeah.
they've got gig management consultants.
Hold on. What's a fractional executive? I'm not sure I've heard that one before.
Oh, yeah. So those are people with a lot of experience who offer their expertise part-time or just for a specific project.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. So they're like super experienced freelancers.
Kind of, yeah. Companies get the skills they need without having to hire someone full-time.
Oh, that's pretty smart.
Right. It's a win-win.
So we've covered like executive search, finding those high-paying jobs, discrete job hunting, a specialized job board, talent pipelines, even gig work. Is there anything else Rutherford International offers?
Oh, yeah. They've got one more thing. They realized, finding the right job is great, but it's not the whole story, right?
Yeah, of course.
So they created this platform, RutherfordINTEL.io, and it's all about professional development, networking, building a community.
Okay, so like ongoing learning and growth.
Exactly. But it's all based on their understanding of those personality types.
I see. So tell me more about this RutherfordINTEL.io. What's it like?
So imagine connecting with people who have similar personality traits and career interests as you. They call these affinity communities.
Ooh, I like that. It's like your work tribe.
Yeah. There's one for intellectuals, interpersonals, leaders, and productive types.
So what do you actually get from these communities?
Well, each one has its own content,
Oh,
like articles, webinars, even special events just for them.
Right.
And they get trend alerts so they know what's happening in their field. Plus, they have access to experts for advice and mentoring.
Wow. So it's like a whole package to help you stay ahead of the game in your career.
Totally. They've really thought of everything.
It sounds like it. So they've built this whole system to support people and companies at every step of the way.
It's not just about hiring and firing.
Right.
It's about growing, working together, and succeeding in the long run.
Okay, but let's be practical for a second. All this sounds amazing,
Yeah.
but it's got to cost something, right? Can you give our listeners an idea of what they'd be looking at price-wise? I got to talk about the money. All this amazing stuff can't be free.
Yeah, true. High-level talent and personalized career help, that usually comes with a price tag.
For sure. So let's break it down. How much are we talking about for these services?
Well, it depends on what you're looking for. Their executive search through Rutherford & Co., that starts at $75,000.
Okay, that's a pretty penny, but I guess if you're looking for a CEO, you're probably willing to spend that to get the right person.
Right, it's an investment.
Yeah.
And for TalentNet, that's the platform with the job board and all the recruitment tools. They have monthly subscriptions.
Okay, so different options for different companies. Makes sense.
Yeah, they've got packages for all kinds of companies, big and small.
So what about individuals? Like if I want to take that personality DNA assessment, how much does that cost?
There is a fee for the full assessment,
Okay.
but they have a free e-chapter of their book on personality DNA.
Oh, that's cool. So you can get a taste of it before you commit.
Exactly. It gives you a good overview. And you mentioned the Rutherford Intel app earlier, remember?
Yeah, with the communities and all the extra resources.
That's free to download and check out.
Oh, nice. So there's something for everyone at different price points.
Yeah.
But beyond the actual services and fees, this whole approach to talent just feels different.
I know what you mean. It's like a whole new way of thinking about work.
Yeah, instead of just focusing on skills and your resume, it's like they're saying, hey, figure out WHO you are first.
Exactly. If you know your personality, your strengths, you can choose a career path that actually fits you.
That just makes so much sense.
Right.
And it's not just about being happy at work either. Companies, if they use this approach, they'll have people who are more than just qualified. They'll be excited about their work too.
Remember that quote we talked about? People who love their work and are naturally suited to their roles are far more likely to excel.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. So that's what Rutherford International is going for, helping everyone be their best.
And their data seems to back it up. It's working. It's really exciting to see.
It really is. So as we wrap up our deep dive into Rutherford International, I'm feeling pretty optimistic. There are better ways to do this whole talent thing.
It's all about being intentional, knowing yourself, and finding work that really lights you up.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And for our listeners who are now super curious about Rutherford International, we've got links in the show notes to that free e-chapter and the Rutherford Intel app.
Go check them out. And tell us what you think. Have you ever taken a personality assessment? Did it change your career path? Share your stories with us on social media.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Rutherford International. It's been a fascinating one. Until next time, stay curious and keep learning.